A StarCraft strategist has the ability to combine the innovative, perceptive, and holistic insights of a build order with the pragmatic and systemic skills of a pro to guide strategic direction in the StarCraft universe. Introducing the Strategist.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 9 of The Strategist. My name is OctanePro, and joining me, as always, is the lovely, the stud muffin, is Buddha. How's it going, Buddha?
Hey, pretty good, man.
Excellent, sounds good. Well, we've been away for about 2 weeks, guys. Do apologize. One of us was at MLG. The other week we had some personal things going on, but we are back offering you guys some more analytical views of some great StarCraft 2 players and build orders. This week we'll actually jump right into a little StarCraft 2 news. So the Heart of the Swarm beta started, closed beta. For those of you that have got invited, have had a chance to actually play it. There's a lot of you that haven't just yet, but we've actually seen a lot of pros playing it. And initial thoughts, I know, Buddha, you got in. What are your initial thoughts of the beta?
I don't know. It's uncomfortable, right? Because not used to it.
Yeah.
There's a whole new meta game going on. Everyone's trying out the new units, so we don't really know what works because there's not a lot of pressure going on.
Yeah.
And then, you know, sometimes people just all in you with Wings of Liberty builds, and it's like, why are you even in the beta?
Yeah.
But I don't know. How has your experience been with the level of people over there?
It's been kind of interesting because as Terran, I've definitely been checking out like the Warhound. That's kind of been like the big talk of the town for Terran. Not as really happy with the Hellion changes. Like I'm not seeing it as effective.
Oh no, Hellions aren't better than they were.
I know. It's like what the hell? It's like oh, put it into what's that? The stand-up form. I'm missing the name of it. Battle Hellion. I'm sorry. There it is. And you put it into Battle Hellion. And it's like yeah, I expected this to be badass, and it doesn't do anything. Like she's like oh, this sucks. But anyways, really been happy with the Warhound. But I'm finding like these crazy like rush builds going on with Warhound, and I've been
there's
seeing
like
a lot of it. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No,
I was gonna say no, you. Anyways,
that was totally planned.
Yeah, that's right. So I've been seeing a lot of it, and actually, like I was watching the Muslim stream because he was streaming Heart of the Swarm, and he was like trying to master this like one Warhound, like 6 or 7 Marine, like push with like a few repairs with it as long. SCVs
Was that the Muslim or was that someone else?
Oh, the Muslim. He was actually, it was funny, he was sitting with Thorzane trying to figure out, like, the fastest, like, Warhound rush they could do. And it's been interesting, because in TVT, it's like, whoever gets the most Warhounds the fastest. And actually, a really cool one I've been seeing a lot of Terran play, actually, is 2 Warhound drops, kind of like the Immortal for Protoss. I've been seeing that, and it's been kind of interesting. But what about you? I mean,
oh my god. Probes are mechanical.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah, I know, right? So for you, I guess my question is, you're the random player. What's it been like for you? Have you been playing random in Heart of the Swarm?
Well, it's been weird because I got in day 1, and day 1 seemed to be only media and people that had like Blizzard connections and Grandmasters players. So I played 7 ladder games on day 1, and I hit 4 NAGMs. So I didn't have a great time.
No, it's
I went 4 and 3, and I got into gold. I think I went like 3 and 2 in my placement or something, and so now I don't really know where I stand. Everyone I play against doesn't really know where they stand. And you know, you can kind of see the difference in macro and mechanics, but like the builds are all so weird that like you never know what your opponent's doing if there's even a timing available for what they're doing. They might try to do one without a timing actually there, or it's really weird at this point. So it's too hard to analyze, I think.
Yeah, for me too. I mean, I got placed in silver after doing my placement matches, and after I played my placement matches, I was like, all right, let's play a few ladder. And I'm like, first ladder match versus a Grandmaster, and I'm like, and I beat him, and I'm like, okay. Second ladder match.
This game must be broken.
I know, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, awesome in Heart of the Swarm. What's going on? And then I play my second match versus another Grandmaster. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, there's just not enough people right now. So, like, the leagues are, like, all over the place. Nothing's, like, right. Like I was looking at pro players streaming, they were like gold and silver. Like it was just really, really funny. So we'll have to see. I mean, Heartless Form has a lot of possibilities, but it's just so broken right now. Like nothing works at all.
Yeah, and that's a really good way for it to be. And you know, we actually had our first set of nerfs come in on like day 2 of the beta, I think. If people want to know about those real quick, it's basically the Warhound got nerfed a little bit. It's passive damage, the little missiles that come out automatically, got slowed down a little bit. Shoot, what else? There were more.
There was a few other little odd and ends, but either way, they made some adjustments to the Warhound because everybody was saying that they were OP.
It's gonna change again. So, yeah, no, I made 30 tanks against ZvT, the GM player, and I just sieged them all up, and he just walked Warhounds into them and like, crushed 30 tanks that were sieged up, walking into them with no micro. So, I don't know. It was weird, but we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like all the new units are super strong, and all the Wings of Liberty units are just like meh. Like, nothing's balanced. But we'll see how it works out. Anyways, kind of pushing through here. If you guys want to know more about some of the StarCraft 2 stuff, more beta, more tournament news and esports news, make sure you check out one of our sister shows on this channel, StarCast, the StarCraft 2 podcast. That airs weekly over right here. If you're watching this on YouTube, twitch.tv/amovetv. It starts Thursday nights at 8 p.m. This week, they're going to have the Complexity Academy's Sasquatch on the show. He did really well at the last MLG. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. They try to have some weekly guests on each week. I think down the line here in 2 weeks, they have Evil Genius's Suppy on. So you get to check him out a little bit, learn a little bit about him. But let's jump into a newer segment of our show we've been calling the Noob Tip of the Week. So take it away, Buddha.
Our noob tip of the week this week in the show notes is gonna be. Oh, that's right. Okay, so if you have problems as Zerg or even actually any race, and you're getting like bunker rushed by an SCV, or you want to attack an SCV that's creating a building with your worker to harass it or anything like that, and you find that your workers like stop attacking it over a short amount of time, because the SCV moves around automatically and stuff. There's 2 parts to this, I guess. The first one is if you hold down shift and you spam right-click the SCV, you can tell it to queue up attack commands, and every time the SCV moves, it'll like burn one of those attack commands and go attack it again. So that's really useful to help stop bunker rushes, especially if you're a Zerg or Protoss player that tries to fast expand. And yeah, so basically there's that. And then the other thing is if you are making the bunker with Terran, and you want to move your worker around so that, because, you know, he's getting hit or whatever, you want to move him to a different side. If you press T, it'll stop building for a second. You can just right-click on your building again, and it'll randomly move around. It might not move at all, but, yeah, it definitely can keep your SCV alive a lot longer that way.
Awesome. Sounds good. And second segment we've been starting is actually called the Streamer of the Week, and this week we actually have twitch.tv/impulse, and Buddha, tell us a little bit about this channel and what people can expect there.
Yeah, Impulse is actually a cool channel. Impulse is a pro-am team. They've got High Masters and Grand Masters on their team, all top 8 in their division and stuff like that. They're really good, actually. But, yeah, they do some of their practice stuff on there, but mostly it's for ISTL, which is the Indie StarCraft Team League. And you can find all of the top-tier talent, not only in NA, but also we have EU players and some Asian players, actually. We got DTG, which is Dream Team Gaming. They joined up with Inferno. Dream Team Gaming is a pure Korean Masters team, and they are a really, really, really strong. They beat... Ooh... No, they lost to Alt Gaming, actually, last week.
Okay.
Optic, Area 51, Western Wolves. If you guys have heard of Sort of, he's from Western Wolves. He won the UK WCS finals. He beat the Muslim in the finals, I think.
Wow.
There are some really, really awesome players that you might not know about, but you can learn about, and you can learn awesome new builds from them. Last year we had Shinya do this crazy 2-base Mothership Charge Lot Archon thing against Zerg that no one had ever seen before. Really, really awesome, cool things. Really good casting and stuff. So if you want to check them out, it's twitch.tv/impulse. They also have a Twitter at imp_esports and impulseesports.com. You can find actually just short summaries, I guess, of the games there in video form. Somebody actually
cool.
edits out parts of the game and explains what's going on to you in that part of the game, and you can watch an entire series in basically 5 minutes. So really cool and a lot of good content over there.
Sweet. Well, sounds good. Well, if any of you guys are viewing and you know of a streamer that really needs to be highlighted, shoot us an email, let us know, thestrategisttv@gmail.com. That's what this section's for. It's really just to get people aware of some of these streams that are really excellent out there, but don't get the attention that they definitely need. Moving on, let's go ahead and introduce the player that we're going to go over tonight. That's actually Liquid Sheth. Liquid Sheth plays for Team Liquid, one of the most famous teams out there for North America. He plays Zerg, and some of his notable achievements within the past year, he got 3rd place in One Nation of Gamers Invitational, and then most recently, which has been like a really, really like amazing, is in the IPL Team Arena Challenge too. He all killed Evil Geniuses, which I actually had the opportunity to watch that, and it was amazing. Like, he just was such a wild card player. And then finally, just before that, 2nd place in 2011 MLG North America Invitational. So really cool player that we're going to go over here, Liquid Sheth. And without further ado, why don't we go ahead and jump into Game 1. And we'll start to take a look here. Buddha, do you have your game up?
I do indeed.
Alrighty, starting on faster. Let's go ahead and hang on here. Let me put on some volume for our viewers. There we go, some nice cricket noises. Starting in 3, 2, and 1. And in the upper left-hand corner, on Ohana, we do have the red Terran being represented by Select.
And at the bottom right, we do have our featured player tonight, Liquid Sheth, the blue Zerg. And make sure you minimize that timer bar there. It's coming over the overlay a little bit. But yeah, we're gonna cover all of Liquid Sheth's ZvT tonight. Not all of his games ever, but we're gonna analyze his games on Ohana, and specifically how he deals with this map. And I kind of like doing 2-player maps for specific map analysis because, especially with Zerg, you know exactly where your opponent spawned. Your overlords go to the correct locations immediately, and we're gonna see how he uses knowing the positions on a 2-player map to his advantage, and exactly how he's going to deal with different situations and how he's going to scout them while using minimal drone mining time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Liquid Sheth is kind of a unique player for those of you that do not know. He actually plays with his keyboard on his lap. And if you actually don't believe that, definitely check him out in person, like at an MLG or an IPL. You'll actually notice it, and it's very odd to see. I don't know where he gained that comfort level, as I don't know any other players that actually do that. But it's actually pretty cool, though.
Yeah, so if you want to be really good, just put your keyboard on your lap.
I tried it. I tried it. It doesn't make me any better.
Just fall flat on the floor, flip right over.
That's right. It like falls over. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Well, anyways, in the bottom right-hand corner, we are at about the 15 drone mark, and we most likely will see a hatch going down for Liquid Sheth, and we do. And for his opponent Select, we actually may see the exact same, and we do actually for Select. We do see a command center first.
Yeah, and this is becoming more and more common, of course. So Liquid Sheth sending his first Overlord exactly where Apollo... I don't know if you guys saw Apollo's images on where to send all your Overlords in different matchups, but this is exactly where you're supposed to send your first Overlord. It's just to the right where these rocks are, combining this natural to third. And his second Overlord is going to head towards his third and up the left side of the map, so he can Overlord scout over there later on if he needs to. But basically what this Overlord on the right-hand side is going to tell him is there a command center, and how close is it to being done? That way he knows exactly what build his opponent's doing, at least to start, and can feel safe, or knows that he needs to do more scouting, or whatever. So, as we can see, he moves his Overlord over to the left a little bit, just to get in vision of that command center, and moves his first drone to the watchtower to, see if there's any Marines on the way, see if there's SCVs being pulled, anything like that. So, 3 minutes and 30 seconds, he sends his Overlord in, sees the command center, and a command center first is going to finish at 4 minutes. And Sheth, of course, knows this, so he knows his command center first.
Yeah, and right away, I mean, he's very, very safe at this point. He does actually have the spawning pool, with not much need for it right now. The barracks has just finished up. So on top of that, I mean, Liquid Sheth sitting very comfortably right now, droning up, no gas at this point. And actually, we just saw Select actually move into the base, take a look at the spawning pool, didn't see any activity on it, so he's moving on his way. So he knows right now that, okay, I shouldn't expect some speedlings this early in the game right now. And the opposite side of the spectrum, we do have double gas going down after the expansion did finish for Deselect.
Yeah, he's doing a very standard 1 depot expand, and if you guys want to look up exactly what a 1 depot expand is, of course, episode 3 of The Strategist went over 1 depot expand for TVZ and how to go through these double gas openings, and a couple of other ones, but mostly this double gas inter-reactor Hellion opening that we're basically seeing here out of Select. He's going to be pretty safe. He doesn't need a lot of Marines, right? He knows that there are a couple of Zerglings on the map, but he's going to chase them off really easily. And in the meantime, we see double gas going down for Sheth here, and that is at the 5-minute and 15-second mark. And he's going to go ahead and take a third at the 6-minute mark. So 2 gases is a weird number this early, and it typically means aggression, and it is what we're going to see out of Sheth. But he's going to add a third, so it's not going to be like some crazy all-in, just a bit of pressure.
And we do actually see the reactor finishing up here in just a second on the barracks, and he's going to do a quick swap with his factory. So he's probably going to put out some Hellions, kind of get some map control at this point. And we do see a follow-up right now with 2 additional barracks. So this is pretty standard cookie cutter. Kind of a different order, per se, with the command center. It's a little bit more riskier, but as a top-tier player, he has no problem doing it. And it looks like we'll see 2 Hellions now out on the way.
Yeah, and on the middle left of the map, we see these 2 Marines going over, finding that Overlord for Sheth, knowing that at 6 minutes and 15 seconds, that Overlord is going to be flying on the left side of the map, kind of towards the left side of Select's base so that it can get that scout later on. So really smart by Select, knowing not going to be a lot of Zerglings on the map, can probably get that Overlord with just those 2 Marines. And now with 2 Hellions out, he can go out, get a little bit of scouting done, get a little bit of map control, knowing there was no gas to open from his Zerg opponent. And yeah, he needs to try to find the gas here, if at all possible. But we'll see if he can get up this ramp.
And it looks like we are seeing he's trying to deny some creep spread, but ever since the latest patch here, we have seen the Queens much stronger, and they are going to be able to protect those creep tumors, no problem. And Sheth doing a great job with the creep spread, almost at the halfway mark there on the map right now. And on the opposite side of the map, we do see a handful of Marines for Select. And he is kind of moving into getting his starport up, along with a third actually getting started. So right now, both.
All right, so let's pause right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Go for it.
So all right, we have a third base for Sheth, which Select scouted. So that means that Select thinks this is pretty standard. He saw it wasn't complete yet. He might be thinking it's a little bit late. He might think it's a macro hatch first, but he has no idea about the gas that Liquid Sheth has. And he's made 11 roaches at this point. He's got Zergling speed completing. He's got a Baneling nest started. So Sheth is going to be incredibly aggressive with a Roach Bane all-in, which is another episode we did. I think it was 5 or 6 or something.
Yep.
And there is a reason for this. Sheth's not just blindly doing this. If you can take a look at the natural real quick, both of the gases for Select have not been taken yet. And Sheth sees that with his Overlord. So all that tells him is that it's not going to be Cloak Banshee, so he doesn't need those Evo chambers up right away. And it's not going to be siege tanks. So siege tanks aren't going to deny his roaches and banelings very well. Especially when he sees those first 2 Hellions come out, he's going to feel a little bit more comfortable. So as we can see right now, there's only a few Marines here for Select and a couple of Hellions, and that's it. And Sheth's going to move across the map with all these roaches, do a lot of damage, and drone behind it.
Yeah, it looks really impressive. I mean, right now those roaches are going to do an amazing job kind of moving across the field. But we're ready to get this started?
Yes.
All right, starting in 3, 2, and 1. And we do have the roaches now making their way up the field right now. That Queen seeing those Hellions there. Kind of playing a little defense there against those. And as of right now, as Buddha had said, we do have this roach kind of Ling army pressing across the map right now. And in response, we have a handful of supply depots that will be able to hold off the front from those speedlings. But behind that, oh wow! Oh, and it looks like, okay, he did pull back the speedlings, and right now we just have an army of Hellions and Marines standing by with no combat shield and no stim.
Yeah, and that's going to be pretty detrimental here. He's going to have a couple medevacs, definitely going to help his composition. Going to come down with the Hellions, try to harass the Zerglings. Takes a lot of damage, unfortunately, but that's a lot of roaches out there. No Marauders, no tanks, and, well, Select's realizing he's in trouble and moves all of his I almost said SUVs.
Yeah, and it looks like as soon as he spotted those Banelings, he did pull everything back. And right now, it looks like Liquid Sheth does get up the first ramp. He's just about to get up the second ramp here with a large handful of roaches and Banelings. And doing an excellent job here. And there's not much more to say. I mean, Liquid Sheth doing an amazing job. Is Select going to be able to hold this off? That is the big question.
All right, I don't know if you just saw that, but Select just target fired every single Baneling, clicking perfectly to kill them off, and that is why he held this. So this was actually a killing blow from Sheth that Select, because he's such a Gosu baller, actually held off. So now, as we can see, because of the droning of Sheth, we have 48 to 43 Harvesters in the Zerg player's favor. But keep in mind that our Terran player is way ahead in tech right now, right? He's got the Starport, he's got Stim done, he's got Combat Shield on the way, he's got Siege Tank production available, he's got a third base completed, and he's kind of in the same position Sheth is, which is bad for a Zerg player, because our Zerg player just used all of his gas on non-tech stuff. He's now making a hatchery, and he's now starting now making a lair, and now starting 1-1. So Sheth feeling a little bit behind, but not too bad.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, the third has not gotten taken just yet by Select. He's pretty much using that third to help drone back up. If we take a look at the income right now for the Harvesters, there's only a 3 actually supply difference when it comes to the Harvesters. So Select's doing an amazing job of actually coming back from that attack. And he's actually making his 4th right now in the base. But in the meantime, we do see Liquid Sheth now doing a great job with the creep spread and actually putting his lings all over the map to get great map presence.
Yeah, and, you know, this is really important. He's going to see every drop coming with all of the map vision he has. If you turn it on to only Sheth's vision, there's almost not a gap he doesn't see right now, except for straight down the middle where his army is. So 1-1's going to finish for both these players, kind of the same time, a little faster for Select. Infestation Pit finally going down at 12 minutes here, and, I mean, this is a pretty even game from here, so Sheth's gonna win. It's his replay pack, but
yeah, this is
yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay. We do see a large leap actually in the supply of the Harvester count right now, 65 to 54, which, you know, some of you might go, oh, no, that's not a big difference. But if you take a look at the income, you can see it's about 250 to 300 minerals per minute there. So it's definitely a big significant difference. And now we're seeing Sheth actually starting to move into several tech upgrades right there, along with Barrow. And along with the pathogen gland as well, where right now it looks like we are actually seeing the third being taken by Select. And we're at the 13-minute mark now. So Sheth's been sitting very comfortably on his third, while Select is just taking it actually with his command center.
Yeah, and as you can see, Sheth's a little bit nervous about taking a 4th base here. He knows he didn't do the damage he really needed to secure a 4th base and be sure he can hold it. Yeah. So he's not going to do that until Infestors come out, and that's a good decision on his part. He's adding Spore Crawlers and Spine Crawlers in both of his bases here, and starting 2-2 at the same time as Select. But we're trying to do a little bit of analysis on this particular map, and at this point, this has turned into a Terran versus Zerg that's very, you know,
defensive,
precision, micro, whatever, not map based. So. I think we are good on this here replay, Mr. OctanePro.
Yeah, I think we're definitely good. You know, and we'll go ahead and jump into Game 2 and Game 3. I just want to kind of give a little analytical side of that replay, you know, kind of show Sheth's development as a player, you know, how he plays. Yeah, that was pretty impressive, actually. Let me go ahead and get the second replay loaded up.
And one other thing I want to point out about Sheth's play in that game is when he decided he was going to do this Roach Bane kind of pressure, he split his gases up. He didn't put both of them in his main. He didn't put both of them in his natural. So he wasn't going to get scanned and everything was going to get scouted at once. He split his 2 gases up so that, you know, he made sure that his opponent didn't know what he was doing. His opponent had to play a guessing game with him, and that's really important.
Yeah, definitely. Sheth's actually come a long way as a player. He kind of really hasn't had a lot going on recently, but then at the last MLG actually had a great showing. I was actually at that one. It was actually very impressive to watch. But let's go ahead and jump into game number 2. Do you have that up?
Mm-hmm.
All right, excellent. Going to go ahead and get started in 3, 2, and 1. And in the bottom right-hand corner of Ohana, once again, we do have the red Zerg player being represented by Team Liquid Sheth.
And at the top left, we have DDE, who plays for... I'm actually not 100% sure who DDE plays for. I know he played for It's Gosu for a while.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he plays for now, actually. And I know you're going to look it up, or chat room is going to tell us. And the answer is...
Probably should have done this beforehand. Because I knew he was on Gosu, but I don't know what... Oh, he's still on its Gosu. Okay, so, yeah, it's Gosu. Pretty cool team. He was on 6 Jacks for a while. It's Gosu has a lot of really good players, though, that are not very well known. SDX and a whole plethora of players that really should be known better. But that's okay. That's not what we're here to talk about today. Instead, we have a TVZ here again, and a slight variation on the build we saw last time from DD already, or... from the last Terran player into DDE here, is the supply depot is going down in his main next to his gas, which means he wants to get a couple extra minerals out a little bit earlier, and that could be an economic thing, but as we can see, he's going to scout here at 12 or make a barracks, and it's going to be a barracks.
Alrighty, well, as Buddha had talked about in Game 1, if you guys were paying attention, we do actually have an Overlord going across the map for Liquid Sheth, and he is heading in that exact direction, almost to the destructible rocks of the natural of DDE. This is one thing to pay attention to on this map, which Liquid Sheth is doing a great job. This will give him safe scouting, but allow him to go right past the gases and the command center once he actually gets a little bit closer to his opponent.
And that's the sign of a really good macro Zerg, is consistency, right? He knows where he wants his Overlords to go, because he's going to play the same game he played before, for the most part, right? He's just got his reactions to what he sees, and then from there, he plays the game out, and unless something really weird happens, he tends to win. So, Sheth's going to go 15 hatch, 16 pool, which I like. It's very economic. But we do have a 2 racks coming out of DDE. It's in his base, so it's going to be safe on DDE's part. It's not going to be like a crazy all-in. It's not an 11-11. It's a 12-14. So a little bit more economic, but he's going to apply pressure. Faux show.
Faux show. So we see no gas at this point going down for DDE, no expansion getting taken. So as Buddha had said, this is going to kind of be a safe bet for him with these Marines. He's not really setting up to put any pressure on at this point, but he is going to go ahead and get some additional scouting. So right now this is going to allow DDE to know, okay, you know, I'm pretty safe. Nothing too crazy is going on. And, no gas actually taken for Sheth just yet.
Yeah, and Sheth actually scouts with his Overlord and sees no command center. So pause at 3:45. Press the P button. All right, so we've been over this before, you guys. You were in here before. But command center first. Finishes at 4 minutes. We're at 3:45. So no command center natural, not command center first. Second, 1 racks expand off 1 depot starts at 3:10. So if you don't see a command center at 3:40, he's probably not doing a 1 racks expand. So you can, he doesn't need to know what's going on. He knows it's either a 2 racks or a gas build, like a barracks gas. So he has to figure it out. But his response immediately, if we look at Sheth's main right here, 14 drones being pulled.
Yep.
So you ready to go?
I am ready to go, and let's get started in 3, 2, and 1. And we are actually seeing DDE, as Buddha talked about. You know, he's going to go with an aggressive build here, and Sheth's going to see that right away. The drones are pulled, and they go to town right away on that bunker. They will deny this bunker. It will get canceled, actually, by DDE to save him some minerals there, but he is going to be persistent and try again.
Yeah, and Sheth didn't even need to see the bunker to know what was going up, right? He knew. Yeah. He pulled all those drones knowing it was coming out. Now, he's banking. He banked his larva, didn't make more drones, going to come out with these Zerglings and completely shut this down. And Sheth's gonna, or sorry, DDE's gonna start a command center behind this. And now he's in a little bit of an awkward position. His command center's a little bit late, but you know, what can you do? He's gonna try to continue to apply pressure a little bit, but Sheth is gonna be a genius, and he's gonna move his Zerglings around the side.
Yeah, he's actually moving to the left side here, and he realizes, okay, most likely my opponent is sitting at that tower, and the base is safe. I mean, there's a queen there to support the spine crawler. There's like 2 lings right there. So this is beautiful right here. He's moving completely around the map so he can put pressure on his opponent when his army is completely across the map there. And this will actually, we'll see how this works out for him.
Sheth's defense was perfect too, right? He put down 1 spine crawler knowing it was a 2 racks that he could hold because he had a lot of Zerglings coming. He made 1 queen at his natural to help him defend, and he made a couple of Zerglings. So he's just going to defend this with drones real quick while his spine crawler gets rooted. And then, as we can see, at the natural of DDE, he's got no wall up, he's got no money, really, and Sheth's just going to run straight in.
Yeah, as you said, there's no wall up, no bunker there for defense, and right now these lings have free reign in the base. We're going to have to see what type of micro that DDE does have in order to save these, and it looks like he's just pulling them in hopes that it'll be okay there, and not much, really, that DDE can do other than try to wall off with them.
Yeah, and he does do a good job of hold position microing. He loses one SCV maybe, pulls the injured ones back to his natural. Really smart move. These Lings are going to get cleaned up, you know, pretty slowly here, but he's got a little bit of a contain on Sheth. But look at the supply. It's 49 to 36. Worker counts are even, but Sheth's got 9 workers in production right now, so it's not going to be even for very long. And yeah, this game's pretty short, so let's continue to watch this because there's only 2 options DDE has from here, and it's try to play a macro game and like expand again, or just all in right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, right now we've seen so many units lost for DDE, so much mining time actually lost, which is the most significant at this point. So DDE is kind of in a rough spot, just chasing down Lings, trying to survive. But in the meantime, across the map, we do actually see Marines on a hold position at the top of the ramp. And right now, Liquid Sheth's just like, okay, I'm just going to keep on droning up. And as you can see, if you check out the Harvester tab right now, 40 to 24. So a very significant lead by Liquid Sheth.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, right now, Sheth's going to take 4 gases, thinking, okay, he's got me contained, so I'll play a little bit of a macro game. He's probably going to drop a macro hatch in just a sec here and continue droning or whatever he wants to do, really. It doesn't really matter. But as we can see, DDE's like, well, macro game ain't going to work at this point. And here come all of the SCVs off of the little one.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how Liquid Sheth holds this here. He does have 1 Spine Crawler, 136 health right now, small handful of Lings, and a few Queens. So we're going to have to see how he's going to recover from this all-in by DDE.
Yeah, and while his Lings are attacking the rocks, and he sees it with his Queens and is like, well, time to back up. All of his Lings and drones get pulled, and he pulls his drones. That's important. Don't think for a second that you should leave the drones there because you're going to oversaturate your main. Just pull him with you. He's making 2 Spine Crawlers in his main right now. He's got 3 Queens in his main. He's going to lose his natural. He's going to sacrifice it. He's okay with that, making 22 Zerglings right now. And as you can see, the supply is still 71 to 46.
So right now, I mean, this is all that DDE has, and these Spine Crawlers just need to finish. I mean, look at all those drones right now in the main, and Sheth pulls everything. He's going to try to get a concave on it. He does get the concave. Does have the drones in the front there, 3 Queens in the back, and Sheth is just going to clean this up, and most likely we'll see a GG at a DDE in no time at all.
Yeah, genius positioning from DDE, man. He backed himself into that corner immediately, knowing he was in a little bit of trouble, but just wasn't quite enough. So it actually takes him about 20 seconds to GG from here. But he knows it's over. It's 54 to 19 supply. And can you bring up the APM tab real quick? Because somebody wanted to see that.
Sure, no problem. So jumping to the APM tab here, we did see a kind of average, 135 actually out of Liquid Sheth, and 270 average out of DDE. And let's go ahead and jump out of this, and we'll actually jump into Game 3 and review some more of Sheth's playstyle.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. Well, while we get Game 3 up, I want to let you guys know to check out, if you want to look at how to contact us here in the future, make sure you guys do go ahead and check us out. You can go ahead and, if you're watching us on YouTube, actually, we have a large follower base on YouTube. Check us out on Twitch. We'd love to see you guys on the live show on twitch.tv/amovetv. Also, if you want to check, if you're watching us live and want to see all of our other episodes, different players we've gone over, series that we've gone over, and builds actually, which is probably the most valuable to a lot of you guys, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/TheStrategistTV. Finally, if you want to check us out on Twitter, let us know when we go live each week, The Strategist TV right there. And finally, if you have a suggestion or recommendation, make sure you check us out at thestrategisttv@gmail.com. And Buddha, are you into Game 3?
I am indeed.
All right, let's go ahead and get started in 3, 2, and 1. And in the upper left-hand corner, we do have the red Zerg. Representing Team Liquid, we have Sheth.
And at the bottom right, we have Empire's... Man. I heard Apollo say this, and I tried to remember how to say it, but...
Brad OK?
I think it's Brad OK, because I think I used to think it was Braddock, and then I thought it was wrong. So that's my metagame on myself here.
That's right, that's right. So, Ohana once again, which is really good. This has actually been a really cool replay plaque. So you've had an opportunity to actually, you know, see all these games actually on Ohana and see Sheth. We're going to see Sheth from the opposite side of the map this time. But we are actually seeing, as we just talked about, Game 1, Game 2, we are actually seeing the Overlord scout in the proper direction directly over to those destructible rocks. So if we learned anything from this game, guys, learn that scouting for Zerg on Ohana, take your first Overlord, and head towards the rocks.
Yeah, and it's going to be safe against the Marines, because the Marine either has to come around the rocks or whatever, and you can dodge it. There's only going to be one Marine unless he makes a barracks at like 8 supply or something, and then you win the game anyways. So, as we can see, Braddock is going to go ahead and put his first supply depot down behind his mineral line, actually, which is something we used to see Terrans do against other Terrans to kind of block Hellion drops so they could raise the depots if Hellions run in, but... Yeah. It's been less and less useful. Usually we see it between the gas and stuff. I don't know. I don't mind it. It's economic enough because it's not at your front wall off. But he's just going to go for a 1 racks expand here.
Yeah, and on the opposite side, we are seeing the hatch go down a little bit earlier. But the timing works out well. It will work out well for Sheth. We'll kind of have to see what he's went. The past several builds, and we've seen actually Liquid Sheth go with a hatch first here. And we should see a pull timing coming out here shortly. We are at the 16. So are we going to see it? And it looks like it is going to go down there. And little side move here. Little shout out to Effer Suchtig. Actually, he is in the chat channel. I actually saw him play at MLG. I think I saw the game that he played against. I think it was Marine King Prime. I may or may not be right. I do apologize, man. But either way, though, awesome job. And thank you for checking out the channel.
I saw Ifer win the NA Play Him daily. How's that?
Oh, man. Well, I got to see him in person. I could almost touch him.
I won the NA Silver daily one time.
What was that, back like a year ago?
Yeah, it was like a year ago. Just to see how many Smurfs were in it, and then the money got deposited into my account before I could say anything. So I have like $1 sitting in my Play Him account right now.
Nice. Nice. Well, anyways, back to the game, guys. That's what we're here for you guys. Scouting going down by Brad OK is seeing that Liquid Sheth has not gotten any gas thus far, so he knows right away not to expect speedlings this early. On the opposite side, we do actually see Brad OK just going for the 1 racks fast expand, and then following that up actually with double gas. So we'll have to see, you know, what actually he goes into here. Are we going to see maybe some Banshee play? What are we going to see?
I think we're going to see Reactor Hellions in a TVZ.
Really? No, definitely. But right now, on the other side of the map here, no gas at this point just yet for Liquid Sheth, and hopefully we'll see a double gas coming out shortly.
Yeah. So, as we can see, the Overlord kind of got denied a little bit over here for Sheth, but he did poke in enough to see that there was an expansion there. And he's going to move the Overlord back to take a look at the gas in just a sec. But he did take double gas here at the or in his main, so he is planning on doing that pressure again. And of course, he can pull off of gas and just start his upgrade or something if he decides not to do it. But we should see that Overlord poke back into gas. Yeah, see, you can see both the gases at the natural right now. So he knows if there's a third gas going down anytime soon. We see Reactor Hellions out of our Terran player. We see 4 Queens out of our Zerg player because Queens are OP. And
What? What?
That's right. Sorry, I was going to talk about this. I'm so retarded right now. We see Braddock actually going, and it's Braddock, by the way, not a Brad OK, according to the guy in chat. He's checking for the third with these 4 Marines, and we see this 4 Marine pressure a lot before the Queen buff, and afterwards not quite so much, but he's not going to do too much pressure, right? He's just going to walk towards the third, make sure it's not there, and Sheth sees that 4 Marine pressure, is like, oh, you were going to do that? Okay, well, now that you know I don't have a third, I'm going to make a third. Yeah. So he puts on his Roach Warren, he starts Zergling Speed, he starts a third, and now he's hidden all of the information from his opponent.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting now. The Roach Warren is about 50% complete at this point. So at first I was like, oh, we're going to see a 7 Roach Rush. That'll be kind of, or 7 Roach timing. I was like, that'll be kind of cool. But nope, we're actually going to see the additional hatch actually going down. And this is going to give Liquid Sheth quite an edge over his opponent. I mean, his opponent's going to have Hellions, which do not do so well against Roaches. Yeah, we'll have to see kind of how this progresses.
Yeah, and Sheth again, checking those gases at the natural, seeing they're not there with his Overlord, and he's got 9 Roaches in production. He's making those Zerglings again. He's got that third base on the way. He's got a Baneling Nest. Basically, the exact same build we saw in game number 1. Yes, 1. And now Braddock's actually going to come in here with these Hellions. Roaches are going to pop. He's going to be like, oh, well,
yeah, that Roach
some Marauders, and there they start.
Yeah, that Roach timing was unbelievable, actually, because those Queens were out actually spreading creep, and so those Hellions got directly right around them. Nice job by Sheth actually getting out those Roach timings, and Hellions look like they're returning back to base.
Yeah, and the third gas against this does pretty well if Braddock were to take that. But at this point, it's too late, right? Because he's not going to have that gas income. And he knows he's in a little bit of trouble, so he's going to pull up to the top of his ramp. Notice how he doesn't cancel the depots at his natural, though, because he wants to free up that supply so he can keep making units for a second.
Yeah.
He's going to lose that money, but at least he's going to live through this because he has that extra production coming out at this point.
Yeah, it's actually a really smart thing. Most people, when they do see a push coming forward, they start to, max out as many units as they can out of their production facilities. Not really thinking, okay, I need to make a lot of supply depots, and that was a really wise decision. It looks like we see a floating command center right now, and Bailing's trying to get their way to go ahead and bust down the supply depots, and they do get in.
Yeah, and I mean, these Marauders are doing pretty well, right? Good kiting by Braddock. He finished him quite early because he opened with 1 Rax expand and not command center first. So, he's going to be in an okay position here. He pulls SCVs just to tank those roach shots for a second so his Marauder can do the damage he needs it to do. Going to land that command center again, and this game again kind of similar to the first one. Sheth did a little bit more damage here, but he actually did a lot more economic damage. Because it's 28 to 64 harvesters right now.
Oh my gosh. Now, granted, he does have about 5 or 6 at his third that he doesn't notice that are not doing anything right now. They're just kind of standing there. But we're not going to point out those things, just saying. But either way,
we're not going to point out the things we just pointed out.
Exactly. But no, I mean, Sheth is in such a great position right now. I mean, he's so far ahead economically. His third is doing very, very well. Rather saturated, actually, at this point. I'm actually surprised he didn't take a fourth. And we actually are seeing Braddock actually moving out, which is kind of surprising after he took such a large hit.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, it does seem surprising. But at the same time, if you really think about it, Sheth invested all of his gas into those early units. So now he's not going to have Infestors. He's not going to have Mutalisks. He's not going to have upgrades. And Braddock has medevac, so he can just lift all of his units up against anything that Sheth might have to defend. Yeah. So he can actually trade the most cost efficiently here. He's making Sheth spend more gas on Banelings to make sure he doesn't die to this, and it's really delaying Sheth's tech. He still doesn't even have a lair at the 11-minute mark.
Yeah, and I actually like the fact that we do actually see Sheth actually taking his fourth right now. He has that economic lead, so he's actually going to extend it even more. But yeah, definitely, as you had said right there, Buddha, I mean, all he's making is Lings and Bailings at this point. He actually isn't making any more Roaches, so his tech isn't progressing that far. Now, granted, he is getting upgrades, but, nothing too significant. They're just +1 as to the same thing as Braddock. So Braddock, as you said, is actually sitting a little bit better than what it would have appeared directly after that attack.
Yeah, he's getting his tech up. He's getting siege tanks, right? He's finishing his armory. He's getting his second engineering bay. He's already got +1 weapons, +1 armor. Is finishing up on that single engineering bay. He's got a drop on the right-hand side, doing some damage. Just keeping Sheth from attacking. Because if Sheth's attack doesn't work and he loses a base, then he's way behind. Yep. And he doesn't know exactly what Braddock has. So, again, this medevac harassment, super effective to counter something like Roach Bane all-in-ish at the beginning, simply because of the gas investment.
Yeah, we do actually see drop getting redropped in the fourth there. And it looks like that Liquid Sheth is going to send some units over there just to hold on. And this is stopping Sheth from actually pressing the natural of Braddock. That gives Braddock time to go ahead and get those siege tanks up to counter those Lings and those Bailings. So this is really effective. I mean, this is allowing him to progress farther in the game, and we actually are going to see another drop come out of Braddock here. Oh, maybe not in the third.
Yeah, and in the main too. I mean, just all over the place, constant harassment. He's going to kill off some overlords here because Sheth can't actually pay attention to all of this at once. It's actually too difficult for almost anyone on the planet, minus maybe Nesty, the God of Man.
Yep.
But yeah. I mean, these drops are just doing significant amounts of damage, right? He's just splitting his units, letting the Banelings crash into them one at a time. And look at the supply. He's caught back up. It's 102 to 137, 50 Harvesters to 70. He's taken his third base now. He's in a much better position than he was before. And Pathogen is just now started at the 14-minute and 40-second mark.
Yeah, so we did actually see Sheth take an early advantage there. with a great economy. I mean, that was cookie cutter. You know, take out your opponent's natural, delay your opponent, take your third, drone up. I mean, it was beautiful. It was a very nice job by Sheth. But it looks like he hasn't moved in the direction fast enough that he should with infestors. And BrightOK is taking advantage of that. And as you can see here, you know, he's at his third. He's getting established. And he's going to be able to kind of close that gap between the supply very quickly. And
this is something else I really like that I want to point out is BrightOK gets on 3 bases, sees his opponent has to invest in banelings a lot, and knows that mutas probably aren't that good of an option at this point. Knows it's probably going to be infestors for the most part. Throws down a second factory, takes his 5th and 6th gases, knowing he's going to need that gas for a second factory worth of tanks. He's adding on that reactor to the starport, knowing he's going to have additional gas income. He's going to start 3-3 pretty soon with +2 on tanks. And he's just playing this incredibly intelligently, right? This isn't random that he's putting down the second factory. He knows that the gas has gone into banelings early, and he knows that infestors are going to be the cost-efficient gas sink that Sheth is going to need.
Yeah, and by no means are we saying, like, Sheth is doing poorly here. I mean, if you take a look at the creep spread is almost completely across the map. He has his 4th established right here. He could easily take a 3rd if he needs to. He's doing a great job holding on with those drops because of those speedlings. And the speedlings are just buying him time to get those infestors. And as you can see, there's the first infestors coming out onto the field right now.
And we see that baneling speed is not done or being researched at all. Spire has started after Hive and an Ultralisk Cavern. So it looks like the choice here is going to be Ultralisk into Broodlord, since that Ultra Cav is going to finish very quickly. But the tanks are getting surrounded by the Zerglings right now. And the Marines are not stimmy for BrightOK. He really needs to pay attention to that. And actually, huge fungals go down, and he's going to lose a ton of these Marines here. That is going to be devastating. He could have held that off pretty easily, I think, with some, you know, even mediocre splitting. Yeah,
it looks like he was microing, actually, the drop that he did in Liquid Sheth's base. It is getting cleaned up by Liquid Sheth. It was a double drop, 2 medevacs. And he did do a decent amount of damage. Now, granted, but, you know, he did lose a lot at his main there. And it looks like, you know, BrightOK will recover. He is building...
Yeah, you know, he actually killed the spawning pool. So, Sheth can't make units right now. He can make Ultralisks and Roaches. And that's it. So, Sheth's in a little bit of a pickle here. And... yeah, I mean, BrightOK kind of realizes he knows he can push out on the map a little bit because he only has to deal with, well, whatever Sheth has that isn't Zerglings for a little bit. He's dropping again. He's going nuts over here.
Yeah, and we do actually see the Spire come out, so we're most likely going to see some mutants just to kind of help with some of those drops. Maybe to kind of give him a little bit more of an economic edge at harassing some of that there. And in the meantime, we are seeing the creep spread continuing down the map. But, you know, BrightOK right now, after putting all that money into those into those factories, he is sitting on 6 tanks right now, and looks like he's trying to actually take his fort.
Yeah, and that's going to put him in a very similar position to Sheth again. Sheth on a 5th base, not mining gas from it though, so a 5th base being relatively useless, I would say. But this is a hard map for a Terran to take a 4th and 5th on because it really spreads them out so much. And, you know, the siege tank positioning is actually just so important, especially with Zergling counterattacks. If your opponent's going Infestor, Zergling, Ultralisk into Broodlord eventually. So, I mean, 3-3 started for both players. It's turning into a little bit of a drawn-out game here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're seeing tech all over the place, actually. For Liquid Sheth. I mean, he's kind of, at first we're like, oh, Roaches, almost at the 7-minute mark, and then all of a sudden now we're moving into Infestor, and so it's kind of interesting, but we are seeing another push by Liquid Sheth.
Yeah, and actually he's leaving his Infestors a little bit exposed to these siege tanks here, taking a lot of damage, losing a lot of supply. BrightOK not panicking and making that extra production. Instead, just making units, making sure he can max out, and then add on that extra production, because he really needs the unit count right now to not make sure he doesn't die. These drops being absolutely devastating, killing a ton of drones off at the 5th base now, and I mean, Sheth has no way to stop these. He doesn't have enough Infestors.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, right now, pretty much Sheth is acting very kind of reactionary. He isn't actually being able to push or anything like that. He's just reacting to all these drops. So we're going to have to see. I mean, you know, the tech is moving along very well for Sheth. But in the meantime, now he's in defensive mode.
Yeah, and that Greater Fire has started. Corruptors are finishing up. Chitinous Plating goes down. Burrow's going down. I don't know why Burrow's going down. That's actually really weird. Maybe for the Infestors to help them survive a little bit against the tanks and stuff. But, you know, Marines coming in and just picking off individual Infestors as best as they can. Doing a really good job, actually. And Sheth, again, is going to lose his 5th base here. So now they're actually even on bases. Income, I'm sure, is going to show Braddock in a huge lead because of Mules, of course.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's this is kind of how TVZ goes. And look, Sheth has to take the bottom right base.
Yeah, I mean the map has kind of gone from top to bottom to now almost diagonal to top right portion, the bottom left portion, and you know, Braddock is doing a great job protecting his tanks from any speedling run-bys or any bailing attacks there. And so right now we do see a 200-200 army for Sheth. And I assume we're going to start to see him try to use up some of these speedlings here so he can open up some room for some more Broodlords and Corruptor availability.
Yeah, I think he's just going to try to strike with the army he has, because he does have a lot of Ultras, and he does need the link support for the Ultralists and such. So, attack going down on the left side. In the meantime, Braddock's just going to counterattack down the right.
Yep.
Infestors coming to try to support that. And you know, we're getting a little bit of a base trade, but not main base trades going on. Yeah.
Yeah, we do actually see the Broodlords actually getting pushed in there. We see a few good fungals going down for Liquid Sheth. So he's doing a great job trying to hold this off here. We do actually see some links from behind. And I guess the big question now is, will Sheth be able to hold this army? And it looks like he will.
Yeah, Broodlord Infestor Ultralisk is like the most terrible composition you'd have to go up with against Terran. With Terran, you really want to deal with the text with more than you do this combined arms force. This is so much gas in one army for Sheth here, and as we can see, he cleaned that army up pretty handily. Braddock only on one mining base at his 3rd here, and this game goes on for another 5 minutes, but of course Sheth does win it. It is his replay pack. Why would he show us the games? Well, yeah, he might show us games of him losing. That would make sense, actually, just so we can see. But he is not going to lose this game. So I think we got the information we need out of this for Ohana. We saw how the bases, you know, can kind of go diagonally because of the lack of bases in space on this map. And, yeah, that's kind of how you want to play it as Zerg. Sheth playing, of course, very well because he's Sheth. He's so nice.
Definitely. So jumping out of that replay there, just a few things. Let me actually get that out of there so we don't hear any in-game noises there. Alrighty, so a few things to take away just from Ohana and Sheth's playstyle. First thing that Buddha pointed out on all 3 replays, actually, was his scouting with his first Overlord. That first Overlord was extremely important versus Terran. Allows you right away to see, okay, is my opponent expanding? And if he is expanding, later on in the game you can go ahead and see, okay, has he actually taken those 2 additional gases? Outside of that, what are some other things that you saw, Buddha, with Sheth's playstyle in those 3 replays?
If his opponent is playing macro, the metagame right now for Terran is to play super macro. Meaning a fast 3rd base, really try to get away with only Hellions into some bio without really committing to siege tanks, saving that, not having to go into all that gas very quickly, and really investing in those minerals very heavily. So he really tries to put on a lot of pressure very quickly with that Roach Bane all in, and I'm sure it kills a ton of people just right off the back. But as we can see, he finds a way to get himself out of it, even though his tech is very, very delayed. And his opponents try to take advantage of it. So on both sides, I mean, as a Terran player, you can see there are a lot of weaknesses to this when you hold off a Baneling all-in. Even if you get kind of way behind like Braddock did, he really did a good job of coming back and making it a very even game until the very end.
Yeah, definitely. And this is actually the first week that we decided actually to review a player independently. And it's kind of interesting to see kind of different play style of just, you know, typical Zerg versus just Sheth and some little things here and there. But also 3 games that we definitely got a chance to review there. If there's a certain player that you guys want us to kind of review, let us know. You know, shoot us an email. Once again, our contact info for you guys. Twitch.tv/AMoveTV, YouTube.com/TheStrategistTV, Twitter.com/TheStrategistTV, and then finally TheStrategistTV@gmail.com. A few last things here, guys. I want you guys to go ahead and check out one of our sponsors here, tweakedaudio.com. That's actually what we're using. If you guys are looking for some high-performance gaming earbuds, make sure you check out one of the top-of-the-line brands, tweakedaudio.com. The top-of-the-line earbuds actually go for $30, and if you use our promo code BuildOrder, you get it down to $15.95 with free shipping anywhere in the world. Now, on top of that, for $15.95 earbuds, you get a lifetime warranty. So if your dog eats them or you step on them, you can send them back. So definitely check that out, tweakedaudio.com. They support us. So please, please, please make sure that you guys do go ahead and check them out and support them. Outside of that, Buddha, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's a show.
All right, man. It was fun. I'm glad we're back. We'll be back, of course, next week at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. We may have to change the date in the future if Day9 continues to do dailies on Sundays.
I don't know what he just started doing it. Because, like, 3 weeks ago when we did this, we were like 100 plus viewers, and Day9 wasn't streaming. And then Day9 streams, and he takes all of our thunder. So, we'll have to take a look at it. We'll have to see how common it definitely goes. The scene has become extremely crowded with a lot of great shows recently. I mean, we're not taking away from Day9. We think it's an excellent show for you guys to watch. Great learning experience. But it is a competitive scene, and we are looking to get this show out to as many people as possible. We do have a great Twitch crowd. We also have a great amount of people on YouTube that do follow us and check us out weekly, check out our shows. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you check out the Twitch show, check it out live. And if you're checking this out on Twitch, you want to see our whole archive, make sure you go check us out on YouTube. We would definitely appreciate it. If you missed any of the stuff that we talked about, it's definitely below in the info tab. And check out the other shows. This Week in Blizz, which is like on fire right now with World of Warcraft just launching, and Heart of the Swarm. And then the StarCast Show, which goes over everything and anything StarCraft related. And this week they actually have Complexity Sasquatch on the show. Well, Complexity Academy Sasquatch, sorry. So make sure you guys do check that out. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week, September 16th at 10 p.m.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. And remember, practice hard, win easy.